What is going on? I want to welcome you from Half Court for today, Wednesday, August 17th. I'm your host, Sean Murphy, alongside my guy, Jeff Freddy. Jeff, what it do, baby?
Oh, what
Whoa,
to do
whoa,
it?
whoa,
Hey,
whoa,
you saw, you
what's
saw. I got the shirt. Forget about it.
forget
I had to
about
rep it.
it. I like
Yeah,
it.
I mean, you see me. I'm over here chilling with my guys. Jalen Duran, Jaden
Dude,
Ivey, Troy Weaver over here, Dwayne Casey. I'm just having a blast. Ready to talk some basketball.
dude. Heck
Just
yeah,
hanging
dude.
out with the guys.
I do you think they're gonna be comfortable standing like that the entire time?
Oh, they're good. I mean, they're big fans of me, so we're all good. They're my
Yeah,
guys, so
yeah,
they're
that's
just
fair.
posted up.
Yeah, I mean, Cade's looking at me a little judgmentally, but that's okay. We understand. But in addition, also joined by that Marquette Heat, that man sitting in that seat, Troy Sergey. Troy, good to see you, my friend. Got to hang out this past weekend. Got to go see the Bears and Chiefs preseason game. Got to hang out in Chicago. Had a lot of fun hanging out, my friend. How you feeling? Do you feel recovered at all from the weekend festivities
Yeah,
and
I
chaos?
mean, I think it's been a good 48 hours. I feel great. I'm excited to watch the WNBA playoffs here starting next week,
Dude,
and any basketball I can get. So
That's it
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, which by the way, Becky Hammon locked up the number 1 seed in the conference for the WNBA playoffs in her
All the
first
coach.
season with the Las Vegas Aces. So, shout out Becky Hammon for doing that. Very much someone who still could be the first woman coach in the NBA someday, but is doing remarkable work with the Vegas Aces right now in the WNBA. So, shout out Becky Hammon. Great work
Yeah.
over there.
If there's one, it's Becky Hammon, the one that's going to break the mold. It's definitely her.
Yeah. But like even then though, it's like it's not like the job that she has right now is by any means a consolation prize because she has, she's being able to coach one of the best teams in the league, and she has a very good chance to go win a WNBA title if they keep playing like this. And I mean, especially they get that arena rocking, man. That's a fun team to watch. So definitely gonna be excited to watch those playoffs as well. And maybe we'll even have to do some maybe we'll even do like a fun bracket thing or something at some point, see if they have something for that. But first, we're here to talk NBA basketball because this is From Half Court, where each and every week we talk about the game that we love, even when the game isn't here to love us back in the month of August. It's just gone, but it's okay. If you like this show, you better like this video, subscribe to this channel, and be sure that you're locked in for when all the breaking news happens, when all the games are going down. We're going to be here to react. We're going to be here give you all the news, all of the coverage, all of the insight that we can. But with that, gentlemen, today we have a couple interesting topics to talk about. First of all, one from we just actually did a video about this yesterday as of when this pod came out from Jack Kelly came out with this interesting graphic scenario that had Pistons Twitter buzzing. And we just want to talk to Troy with this real quick because myself and Jeff were of the opinion, looking at this, it talks about which path would be better, right? If we won 20 to 28 games, had a bottom 5 record, got Victor Wembanyama and Cade improves, has a solid statistical season, 24, 6 and 8, or if the Pistons get 34 to 40 wins, make it to the play-in tournament, and Cade makes an all-star game averaging 27 and 7. Now, personally, I'm going to take the path that has us winning more games almost each and every time. Even though Victor Wembanyama is a guy that has generational type athleticism, generational versatility, generational type talent, Cade Cunningham has that too. And to see him be able to take that and allow this team to win some more games this season, along with the talent that we have as well, I think that's going to be a big thing. Troy, what are your thoughts?
yeah, absolutely. Path B is definitely the way to go. If you look at that path A again, I mean, it's three kind of. I mean, I guess it's one good thing of having a top 2 pick. as well as, I guess you could say, Cade improvement too. So 2 out of the 3 are good, but winning 20 to 28 games again, I don't want to do that again. I even if Cade improves, I want to see the team improve with him. So I think that's the big thing why I would pick Path B. And it would be fun to watch some play-in tournament basketball and watching this team excel to that level, because we were watching them this 2 short years ago with Jeremy Grant's, I guess, MIP candidate season. That was one of the worst teams that we've produced in the past even 20 years. So for me, having that first year Troy Weaver and then in year 3 having him in the play-in tournament, I just feel like you can see all the progress come in to play with that. And I just feel like those are 3. That's a great stat line for Cade to make an all-star game. That is a great record to have and a major improvement, and a play-in tournament. You're 3 for 3 for win-win scenarios, when in the other path, you're kind of 2 for 3. So for me, plan B is just a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, and even then, and Jeff, this is kind of something that we alluded to. Even if you win 20 to 28 games, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get that top 2 pick. Obviously, in this scenario, it's saying that you do land that top 2 spot. But, I mean, we saw this past season. The Pistons were in that scenario where, they had one of the best odds for the top 3 and were the team that fell out. We got lucky, got Jaden Ivey in that position. But at the end of the day, I think we want to see this team take that next step and take a leap this year, right?
We do.
Yeah. Jeff, want to expand on that? What are your thoughts?
I think on top of that too, Troy hit on everything. But the thing I would add as well is you have Troy Weaver. You want Troy to be in these types of situations where you're in the back half of the lottery because you trust his talent evaluation. Now, I like Victor, but that would be a scenario if you had a guy like Stan or Ed Stefanski, you could trust, listen, if you have a top 2 pick, and like you said, Sean, it's not even guaranteed, but let's just say it is, you're like, all right, you can't mess this pick up. But to Troy's point, I would take the team growth. If Cade's averaging less points, that means other guys are filling those roles in. It means Jaden Ivey had a great rookie year. Sadiq's taking the next step. Killian Hayes is another guy that would be taking the next step. So for me, I'll take the team getting better. Cade making his first All-Star appearance. That means he's affecting winning. But in terms of where they select, Sean, it doesn't matter to me as much as it did in the past, considering you have a nice young core. And on top of that, if they pick 2 or they pick 10, 11, I know Troy's going to be able to get the best guy no matter where they are. So I'll take the team improving, and you could still try to sneak into that, be in that lottery and sneak, who knows what the odds, you sneak a little higher than you're supposed to be. So I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, most certainly. Now, another thing that was going on in the Pistons sphere, and this is something that we talked a little bit about as well, but there were some rumors, and I don't even think this is something that is like concrete. I don't think this is something that's going to have any inevitability, something that we're even talking about as a realistic possibility. Mm-hmm. However, the report was out there nonetheless, so still worth talking about. Jack Simons from Heavy brought up that according to certain reports and certain sources, it appears that Draymond Green at some point in his career has always wanted to play for the Detroit Pistons. Now, Draymond Green is from Saginaw, Michigan. Draymond Green played at Michigan State University. Reportedly, Draymond Green has admired Ben Wallace, which would make a lot of sense because of their games are both defensive predicated. Guys that weren't really known for their talent, more so for their skill, but even then were insanely talented players nonetheless. But in my opinion, I don't even want to necessarily have that conversation because I think we're all in agreement here that Draymond Green on a max contract in Detroit, this isn't a feasible thing that we're looking at, that Troy Weaver's looking at, that I think anybody's having that conversation. Right? Are we all in agreement there?
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
But one thing that we can talk about is the fact that the Pistons are going to have over $60 million in cap space going into next season. And so with that, Detroit's going to have a lot of options. And a whole lot of players are going to be out there on the market. So with that, what are some players and what are even like types of players that you would like to see the Pistons ultimately pursue in free agency? So, for example, looking at some guys that are going to be available next year, I know that the Warriors They're going to have a whole lot that they're going to have to figure out on the money side of things. I would not mind if Andrew Wiggins at some point, I know he's going to get an extension. I know they're going to probably talk about it. However, if for whatever reason that fell through, I would not mind if he came to Detroit and had a conversation with Troy Weaver, because we saw his offense on full display, his defensive ability to lock down Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals, everything that he did. He's the type of guy that I would love to add to the Pistons core and what we're doing right now. But there are so many players that are going to be available on the market. And Jeff, I know you had a little bit more time to prepare for this than Troy did, so I'll go to you first. What are some names that attract you, and who are some veterans that you'd love to see in a Pistons uniform at some point?
So looking at the 2023 free agents, the first thing I'm looking for is wing depth. That's kind of what we look for. You mentioned it already with Andrew Wiggins. Another guy, I could add a couple guys. Jay Crowder is going to be a free agent as well. He kind of fits that mold, can space the floor, brings that toughness, fits the culture. Another guy could be Otto Porter. You mentioned the Warriors, a guy that, again, another versatile piece that can, this is what we need. We love livers so much. We need more livers. We need more guys like Isaiah Livers and Sadiq Bey, because that's what the Pistons are lacking. So those two would be come off the top of my head. But even a guy like an underrated guy, Harrison Barnes, like a guy that 31 years old. We don't know how much money he's going to be commanding. And I get he plays for the Kings. They now drafted Keegan Murray. Who knows what his future looks like? A guy who could switch between the 3 or the 4. So that's who I would be looking at. I know this class is top heavy. You're not getting clearly. Let me just read you the top. I mean, there's LeBron James, Russell Westbrook. James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Porzingis. Like it's really those middle of the pack guys is what I'm looking for. And it starts at the wings. Can you play the 3 and the 4? That's what I'm at. And can you space the floor?
Yeah.
Those are the two things I'm looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. Troy.
Yeah, so Jeff, I had 3 names that came to mind, and Jeff hit on one of them already, Harrison Barnes. I think he's a wing that can really stretch the floor. And call me crazy for the next one, because it's all going to be about the pricing. We're going to have to probably rip this guy off a little bit, and I don't think he's looking to get ripped off. And it also sounds crazy because he's been
say it, Troy.
Already.
Just say
Tobias Harris. A Tobias Harris at the right price. Seriously.
The return? Okay.
A return at the right price.
Coming home
at the right price.
Yeah, at the right price.
I think he fits this team well, and maybe the right price isn't even realistic for me to even say. But I just feel like he's a guy that we know what he can do on the offensive end, and I think he's a pretty underrated defensive guy too. And I'm thinking he's like a 6-man, 7th man kind of guy. So I'm not even saying he's going to be a starter at all.
I think at the end of the day, I think he just has too much talent in this league that he's going to start.
Sure.
I think there's 29 other teams in this league that he's a guy that's going to start somewhere. I would say, to your point, there's no world where I'd want to give Tobias Harris a max contract. I think if the Philadelphia 76ers could go back, I think they would pay Jimmy Butler over Tobias Harris.
Correct.
Just a thought. Just a thought.
Yeah. So again, it's the right price. Maybe we're 3-4 years away from that, Sean. Maybe it's not this upcoming free agency, but maybe it's 2026 or something like that, when we still maybe have a Kader Sadiq. Who knows by then? But say we do, and we're still in the contender age, and you bring a true veteran at that point, a 10+ year guy like Tobias Harris at that time in the career. That's kind of more where my head was at.
Right.
Again, another one at the right price, also a former Piston, but a Spencer Dinwiddie who could pair with a Cade. And I guess with a scenario where Killian Hayes may not be on the roster, I think Dinwiddie would fit in more. But he was a guy that came to my mind as well.
Yeah. That's
fair. Can I throw one more in there too?
Yeah.
Seth Curry. I like Seth Curry. That you mentioned the Killian thing. Listen, we don't know what Alec Burks is going to be. We don't know how long he's going to be here. So if he's gone, you need guards. I like Seth too. It's the shooting aspect, but that's the guy I wanted to add besides the wings.
Yeah, no, for sure. And even then, there's a lot of potential different guards and potential different avenues that you could go. I mean, let's say even, what if you could get a guy like D'Angelo Russell as a potential 6-man, and someone that you could bring off your bench, someone that is a clear bucket, someone that helped the Nets a few years ago get to the playoffs, a guy who, has shown that's willing to play that type of role. If we're able to bring him in on a solid contract, I think that's the type of guy that can bring and really change your second unit and add a lot of scoring and playmaking to that unit. And, when I'm thinking of getting creative and how we can use that cap space, that's something that would make us better right away. That's something
Yeah.
that if you can get another guy that can add another 15, 17 points a game to what we have going on right now, that's a role where he doesn't have to be expected to be the guy. I think it's a pretty realistic expectation for him, and he's only 27 right now. Like it's not unreasonable to think that he could come to Detroit and potentially have a pretty solid career and turn around some of those winning ways and potentially, turn around what happened in Minnesota. And, I think it'd be a pretty good option for Detroit.
And real quickly on top of that, everyone talks about the 3-guard lineup with Killian, Jaden Ivey, and Cade. Imagine D'Angelo, Jaden, and Cade.
Sure.
Like you play Cade at the 3. My God. I mean,
Yeah.
you got that much more dangerous. So that's another good one.
In a small man's league.
Yeah.
You need guys that can put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, most certainly. Now, as we keep talking about this, Troy, can you find a room in your house where you don't look like we're filming an exorcism?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I could do that as the lights getting dimmer and dimmer. I can definitely do that for you guys.
that's totally okay. Well, as we do that anyway, we can keep talking. There we go. Now that at least gives us some light for now.
We can see it, Troy, now. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I still got to switch rooms because it's going to be darker. But.
Oh yeah, 100%. But even then, we talked about it. It's about getting guys, and like you said, we're not bringing up stars, and the reason why we're not bringing up stars is because I think even though people say, like, obviously, at a certain point, Detroit's going to go out, and I think they're going to get a big name at a certain point. But I think with that cap space next summer, and I think when we're looking at free agency, it's like, all right, what are the things that we can predict? What are the things that this team can control? What are some of those things where like we can use the resources that we have right now? What are some moves that don't take a lot of risk, but in addition, make us better and help us win some more games going into the next year? Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, and you hit on it too. It's the flexibility. That's what Troy's been preaching. And if you keep that flexibility, I have a theory. I think when that big fish comes to Detroit, it's going to be via trade. That's how they're going to do it. Looking at this free agency class, that's kind of why we've been naming, mid-level guys, role players, because it's top heavy, guys that are going to probably re-sign and or go to winning situations. Right now, if the Pistons were to go out and get somebody, in my opinion, it's through trade. But if you can keep, let's say you have $60 million, you spend 30 of that with contracts, and you keep 30 available, and you go out and get a big fish to fill that 30 gap. Like that's a win-win. So that's kind of why, we haven't been mentioning guys. I think it'll be via trade or sign and trade. That'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't even know sometimes what players are going to be available, who's going to be on the market, what options are going to be at your hand. I mean, we saw, Kevin Durant all of a sudden was just on the market and was just wide available, so that things can just happen in the NBA. At the same time, things can also just very much not happen for a while, and that's called August. But with that, this episode of From Half Court is brought to you by Manscaped. When we talk about post players, there is few better players in the restricted area than our friends over at Manscaped. With great products such as the Lawnmower 4.0 with skin-safe technology, the Weed Whacker, their deodorants, lotions, and more, Manscaped is unrivaled when it comes to the men's hygiene game, serving over 8 million balls worldwide. That's a lot of testicles, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're finding yourself in need of Manscaped products, be sure to go to manscaped.com and use code HALFCOURT at checkout, because that can get you 20% off plus free shipping. Our friends at Manscaped sent us these products, and I can tell you that they are absolutely for real. I have been absolutely satisfied and in love with their entire product line, from boxers, t-shirts, the Lawnmower 4.0 to the Weed Whacker ear and nose trimmer. You can really not go wrong. Be sure to go to manscaped.com and use code HALFCOURT at checkout for 20% off plus free shipping. Thank you again to our friends at Manscaped for sponsoring this video. But with that, guys, I think since it's that time of the year, I think now that we're heading into the next season, I think it's time that we have a conversation and specifically focus in on looking at who the best players in the NBA are right now. A lot of people are coming out with lists and rankings and giving their opinions on who the best to do it in the league are. And I think it would be fun to have a conversation of the top 5 and see if we can come up with a consensus ranking together.
Because that was my next question, Sean. Should we do this like from Mount Rushmore, where we all kind of agree 2 to 3 or 2 to 1 odds, majority rule, who gets on the list, or should we do like a Sean's list, Jeff's list, Troy's list kind of thing?
So I think let's try and let's do a majority rules. Let's come up together with a consensus list, and then we can afterwards talk about how it would be different in our lists.
Sure.
Does that sound like a good idea?
Let's do it.
All right, perfect. So let's start with what 5 guys are going to be on that list to begin with, and then we can get into the ranking. That's I think that's so. I'm going to go right out and just say it. My number 1 guy, and I think who has to be on this list, it's Giannis. Yep. Giannis is the best player in the world.
He's my one.
He's my one too.
It has to be Giannis, and let's talk about it, because last year, Giannis was starting to enter himself into that conversation, but I don't know if it was the consensus opinion. But I think now, I don't even think it's a conversation. He's the number 1 player in the world. Jeff, what makes Giannis so effective? What makes him terrifying? And why is he so dominant?
Listen, this guy is unbelievable. And listen, I want to go back as recent as the playoff series he just played without Chris Middleton, losing to the Boston Celtics. He is the first NBA player to have 200 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists in a playoff series. Even at the Game 7, he struggled a little bit. Without Chris Middleton, that series was still winnable. So that's the type of impact Giannis has on a game-to-game basis. And if you want to talk about resume, I mean, 6-time All-Star. He's already an NBA champion at 27 years old, 2-time MVP, 5-time All-Defensive Team, 6-time All-NBA. Like if he retired right now, Sean, he'd go down as one of the best players of all time. Maybe not top 5, but he'd be in that conversation of 10 to 15. Giannis already, if he retired right now. So that's why he's my best player. Like, he still has a lot to rack up in terms of awards and accolades and statistics. But my God, you can't look at Giannis and say that guy isn't the best player right now in the NBA.
Troy, when I watch Giannis play, it's almost like it's seeing someone with the athleticism of Vince Carter, the length and touch of Kareem, and the power of Shaq. Like, it's honestly like the scariest combination of talent that I've seen in a player.
And he's getting that 3-point shot to improve too, guys.
Oh, that shot, that form that he's got.
Can the Pistons relocate to the West? Like, can we just move on? I don't want to face this guy. I do not want to face this man in a playoff series.
Dude, and that's the thing. Like, you touched on it. Like, this is a guy who he's always working on his game. Like, he's never not focusing on his craft. Like, this is a guy who any star, like LeBron, he's a guy that likes to focus and try and craft his narrative. Kevin Durant is a guy who likes to try and craft his narrative. Giannis just focuses on winning games, focuses on getting better each and every offseason. When the rumors and when people tried to start the speculation and tried to start the Giannis to leave Milwaukee thing, he was like, nope, I'm staying. I'm signing it. Here's the contract. Let's win. And then they did.
Yep.
And they did on the backs of one of the best finals performances that we've seen in the past 20 years.
Really has.
So, yeah, man, I firmly believe if the Milwaukee Bucks are healthy, there's no reason why they shouldn't be back in the finals this year. And there's no reason why
100%.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be pictured the favorites.
Yeah.
So,
hey, they're the champ until somebody knocks them off healthy, to me.
Yeah.
So you got to beat the champ. Not beat them without Chris Middleton. You got to beat them.
Yeah, I still think the champs are the champs no matter what. Everyone deals with health stuff every year, but at the same time, I'm with you in the sense that they're still my favorites until someone knocks them off.
I've told you guys this before. I really want a Warriors Bucks finals. Could you
Giannis versus Steph, please. Give it to me, man. Give it to me, man.
Give it to me.
Yeah. Give it to me. All right, that's gonna be memed forever. But anyway, now personally, all right, so Giannis is on the list, right?
Yeah, he's one.
Easily.
All right. let's go. Let's start naming the other guys I think have got to be on there.
Joker.
Nikola Jokic just won 2 MVPs in a row. I'd say he's got to be somewhere on that list.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
I'd say Kevin Durant's got to be on that list.
Yeah.
I'd say Joel Embiid's got to be on that list.
Yes.
And then now
Stephen
here's
Curry.
5. Steph Curry, we could go that route.
Yeah.
LeBron James, we could go that route.
Talent, man. A lot of
Luka.
talent.
Luka
Luka's
Doncic, we could go that route.
Man, we're already at like 6 guys.
We're at 7.
Oh my
7,
god.
yeah, it's crazy.
We just listed 4 and we didn't even get to Luka or Steph.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
we're
wonder
gonna
if
have to
we'll-
leaf off
Or
Luka
Ja. I
or
mean,
Steph.
why not throw 8 out there? And
Oh
throw
my
Ja?
god. We have to wow. Holy crap.
I wonder if we'll disagree at 2 because I'm curious to see what you guys think. Who's the second?
I think all 3 of us agree at 2.
Well, who
Jokic.
is?
Jokic.
No, it's Kevin Durant.
It's
to me.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Oh, you
no
mean number
question.
2 as a second best player? I thought you
Yeah.
meant in our list. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go
Kevin
with
Durant.
Durant.
He is,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. Yeah, Kevin Durant. Like, listen, when the reason why it's as big of a deal as it is that he's on the market is because he's Kevin freaking Durant.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
we need to see Kevin Durant healthy.
Mhm.
We need to see Kevin Durant man up a little bit and become a little bit of a better leader, take
Mhm.
ownership and onus of what's happening on his team, call Kyrie out on his BS,
Yeah.
call Sean Marks out on his BS, if he feels like they're, but again, some people operate differently. Whatever team he's going to go to, they're going to instantly become a favorite because they have Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
It's just how it works. It just is. And offensively, Giannis is truly unstoppable in everything that he can do. Kevin Durant's the greatest scorer we've seen in the game of basketball ever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The most talented. He could beat you in any way on the offensive end.
There is zero weakness in his game. 0.
Mhm.
And I get the only thing, maybe if you want to go, well, he's not healthy and that's your argument. I just don't I just disagree. Like when I look at best players in the world, I look at talent, and Kevin Durant to me came back from his Achilles, 30 points per game until he's out, until he, gets injured again. But when he's healthy and he's on the court, I mean, we can go back 2 years ago. Look at what he did against the Bucks. Foot was on the line, my man. Like this guy,
Yeah.
I don't think Kevin, I think the narrative's kind of changed because he hasn't been on the court. But listen, Kevin Durant to me is the second best player. He's one of the most gifted scorers of all time, most talented players to ever exist. So
And he's a winner.
that's why, and he's a winner now. And I get it, the whole
Yep.
Golden State narrative, but still, Kevin Durant, in terms of talent, we're not talking about, affecting winning. It's just talent. Kevin Durant's number 2 to me.
Yeah, he has to be. And even when people might bring up he might not be always the best defensive player. When Kevin Durant wants to be on the defensive end, he is on the defensive end. Now, obviously, the Kevin Durant that we saw in that playoff series against Boston, I think, is what ultimately made this argument kind of closed.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of what sealed it. However, that doesn't mean that Kevin Durant can't come out and just have this awesome season and be back in that conversation again. So definitely going to be interesting to see what happens from here. Now, personally, if I'm going third,
Mhm.
this is where, in my opinion, I'm putting Jokic. If I'm going
actually not. I'm going Curry.
I can understand that.
Wait. Oh, no, you agree. Never mind. You didn't disagree. Kevin was 2, right?
Correct. No, I agree. Kevin was 2. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
I thought you were
never mind.
talking about list of order that we just randomly did. I was not thinking 2.
Yeah, okay, you're good then. Never mind. I was going to be like,
All right.
wait, how is Jokic not next if he was? No, but never mind.
no,
Move on,
no.
Sean. Sorry about that.
So here's my argument. Nikola Jokic, for everything that he does on the basketball court, the Denver Nuggets, if you look at what roster they put on the court last year, other than Jokic, if they put that roster out there,
Yeah.
they would have been a top 3 lottery team. They were terrible. Awful. And Nikola Jokic, yet again, goes out and has a historic season, puts up stellar stats, affects winning, is a better defender than people give him credit, offensively is literally unstoppable. is one of the best passers that we've seen in the game of basketball, arguably ever. One of the best passing big men ever, without a doubt.
Mhm.
His efficiency is unprecedented. But I think we're gonna see, now if he actually has some guys healthy next to him this year, I almost wonder if Nikola Jokic could be seeing a finals trip.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's where people don't realize, like, because Jokic, it's not like he's been buns in the playoffs. Like, even when the Nuggets played the Warriors, like, in the playoffs,
He played well.
the Nuggets played them hard. It was a
Yeah.
difficult matchup. Jokic by no means had a bad series. Draymond couldn't do anything to stop him.
Yeah.
No one can. You can merely contain him. But the thing is he's so good because he could just set up his other teammates as well and put them in positions to succeed. And this, like, really, the Denver Nuggets hit a freaking home run having this guy on this roster. And I know Steph Curry just had an incredible performance. I know he just won Finals MVP. I know he's the best shooter in NBA history. And I know that he's one of the greatest players of all time. Perhaps one of the best, perhaps the best point guard of all time. But I think right now, Jokic is in his prime. And Steph, as awesome as he is, you could almost make arguments that other years of Steph were better.
Sure.
So maybe
Yeah.
that's where I'm nitpicking, but you're nitpicking when you're doing this type of ranking. So that would be my argument. But Troy, I would love to hear yours.
Yeah, you kind of hit on mine in a way too when you were giving credit where credit's deserved with Steph. But I just think the winning just impacts so much. And you look at the NBA field. We talk so much of how deep the league is. Okay, Steph Curry beat Joker. I get the team around him. I get the team that Denver was putting out. I get all that. Steph beat Ja. Steph beat Luka. Steph beat Tatum, and Tatum beat Durant. But
the Warriors beat.
Okay, but I just feel like who was running that charge? I know I know you're trying to nitpick in this argument, but I just feel like who was leading the helm on that team? It was Steph Curry, who had one of the best bounce back seasons we've seen in this league in the past 10 years. As far as bounce back, I think it's Steph Curry, the impact that he had this year. I guess my argument is just based on watching the games and the games. I just feel like how he impacts his team. I can't not put Steph. I can't put Joker ahead of Steph Curry, I guess is where I'm going at.
If you put Steph Curry on those Denver Nuggets, do they still get the 6th seed and not even get into the play-in?
If you put Steph on the Nuggets,
if you put Steph Curry with the exact same roster than Nikola Jokic had last year,
they're a 5th seed. They're a little bit better.
Jeff, what about you, man? What do you think? Wow.
Well,
all right.
I'll say this. Steph didn't have his cast around him, and what happened last year?
They won a championship.
No, not the year prior. Sorry, I'm still living off this. I'm talking about
last year. Last year they made it to the play-in, and then they didn't.
That's okay. And the thing that swayed me, we're all nitpicking. The thing that swayed me is when Sean said, "Right now," like Curry all time is a better player than Jokic, but I think
no question.
Currently, Jokic is a guy who's coming off back-to-back MVPs. He's the second, international player to do that, other than Giannis. And I think his complete game, his effect on winning, and Steph affects winning. I'm not saying he doesn't as much as Jokic, but I just think individually, Jokic and what he can do talent-wise, he's in his prime. Like if Denver was healthy, we talked about this, Sean, a long time ago too. Like that's a contender to me. You saw what they did before with Jamal and Michael Porter. So that's why I'm edging him over Steph, but Steph is still like it's not really a stain on Steph or anything.
You guys have good points, but I'm just too stubborn in Curry being better. Great point,
fair.
You guys. Excellent points.
That's totally fair. But in the sake of this ranking, that puts Jokic at number 3, and that puts Steph at 4.
And now, I got to put Jokic at 4. So
that's totally fair. That's totally fair. However, what I would say is Steph, he has elite skills. He is, he's an all-time great ball handler. He is the greatest shooter in NBA history.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's serviceable. I would say just Jokic, he's just damn great at everything. He's just damn great at it all. Like
And
that,
the big man, hey, it's a big man's league too. Like,
Mhm.
let's be honest too. Like, you're gonna choose the big guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's how this
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely gonna take that shooter if I get the chance. You know what I mean? Steph
Yeah,
Curry lighting up
no
the
doubt.
gym, and we saw, everyone was like, "Oh, well, what about the fact that he couldn't go out and win Finals MVP? That's not that he's not really that great." But we saw him put that BS to the side this last year. We see Steph. We talk about where they're at right now and their primes, but like there's points where it just like looks like Steph is hitting other levels at times.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
this last year in the
can't stop him.
finals, there's times where I was just watching Steph and it's like, literally, what can you do? Like literally, what can you do?
And I think that's the difference in terms of carrying a load. I think Jokic, I'd go with Jokic if I had to put a team on Jokic's back and be like, get us to the playoffs. But Curry, as a talent, the shooting ability, changing the game of basketball, like legacy wise, I would take Curry. But if we're talking right now, like again, we're nitpicking. It's so close. You could probably interchange them if you want to put Steph 3. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you, but I just feel Jokic is.
Hey, you did
just
argue
better
with
right
me
now.
though.
I'm not going to be pissed at you. I'll say that. I'm going to just spit. I can't be mad at you, Troy, for picking Curry, but I'll just say my opinion.
He said he's not going to argue with you, but in this case, he has to because we're putting together a ranking. Don't do that, Troy. I know what I'm doing here, Troy. Come on, now, Troy.
Steph's 4, and I think we're going to disagree at 5. I really.
I actually think we're going to be all pretty much on the same page at 5.
Well, that's what we thought last. We'll see. What do you?
Right.
I'll let you guys go.
Man, this one's tough because in my head, I'm flipping back and forth right now. I am flipping back and forth. I'm going to go Joel Embiid. In my opinion, should be 5th as of right now.
Me too.
I am so conflicted though, because man, Luka Doncic is incredible.
Yep.
And man, Luka in his first year when he won a playoff series, then when it went a series that he won a series he wasn't supposed to get, and gets to the Western Conference Finals. He got farther than Joel Embiid has at this point. But the thing is, I just think at the end of the day, I think Joel Embiid, I think he's going to have an MVP caliber season. I think he's elite on the defensive end. And I would say I think that's where I would edge it out if we're talking about their overall game. I would have to edge Joel Embiid over Luka at this point, but man, is that hard to do.
Yeah, and same here, Sean. That's definitely conflicting, but I think the defensive edge is what gives me to lean towards Embiid for number 5 more than Luka. But I also think Embiid's just all-around skill play too. I mean, he's a big that can shoot it from the outside. I mean, obviously he's nowhere near the passing ability as Joker, but he can at least facilitate a little bit. And I feel like just his impact on winning as well. I mean, of course, Luka made it to the Western Conference Finals, so maybe that's not a good argument. But in the East, I just feel like, he almost got to the conference finals, I guess 2 years or back in 2019, and I guess 2021 and 2022. So, I mean, I guess he's never been past the second round, but he's certainly got to the second round and pretty far in on Sixers teams that they had the talent to do better. But I just feel like, you could put that argument maybe on the other guys more than you can Embiid in some cases. And for just me, I just feel like when you watch the guy play, he just can't not be in my top 5. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but the one thing though, and even I put Embiid at 5, but there's times where you watch Luka, and he could be 1.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
Jeff, where are you at with it?
This is the toughest one because I have a 3-way tie. And you guys kind of swayed me. We're probably going to mutually agree, but I had to choose between Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, and I think people aren't respecting LeBron James at this point in his career. Because I get it. They didn't win many games this year. But I think individually, I mean, if we're just talking talent, in the man's 20th year, still putting up 30 points a game, 38-8, and still being solid. I think he's still in that conversation. He's not number one like he used to be, but still top 5 for LeBron. I mean, that's still, I think, a fair spot to put him. But I'm going to go Joel just because of defensively. I think Joel edges out over LeBron because he isn't as good as a defender as he used to be, or he just doesn't care. Anymore. Yeah, I was going to say that's really the truth. It's not that he can't. It's really he just doesn't. And then Luka Doncic just can't at all. So I'm going to go Joel, but Luka and LeBron are right there behind Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is a podcast where we're going to care a lot about that other side of the ball. That's just, you know,
got to play both sides.
Yeah, you know, we're rooted in Detroit basketball, so you know we're gonna value that when we're doing our ranking. And it's just, you know, I will say, man, it's just the more I think about it, I'm almost making the argument for Luka Doncic in my head, but it does just have to be Joel Embiid as of right now with his more overall game. Now, if you're asking me this time next year, if we do this list again, there's no chance in hell that Luka's not on this list.
Sure.
That train in the background is that Luka Doncic type train, man. That's coming in.
This is the draw for me, Sean, too, is like, okay, with Joel, you get the defense, you get, you know, what he brings defensively, but with Luka, you get a guy you can literally take your team and put it on his back and lead you to a Western Conference final. Like Joel, although I love Joel, like he hasn't shown. That's why they went and got James Harden. And James, you know what he did in the postseason. Like we all expected to be called that on this podcast. Yep. But that's kind of also the argument. It's like Luka can do more. That's what edged just over Jokic over Curry. But Curry's obviously nowhere defensively like Joel. So defensively is what really puts Joel in top 5. If we're talking just, you know, what can a player do if you drop him on your team? Luka's clearly the guy.
Can we talk about how talented the league is, by the way?
Yeah.
Because oh my God, international players too.
Yeah. Which just another piece. 3 years ago, if you would have told me that we're making a top 5 list without Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James on it, I would think you're crazy.
Or even James Harden.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Anthony Davis.
And those guys aren't even top 10, maybe, because we left out Ja, we left out LeBron, we left off Jason Tatum.
Dude, Paul George at one point was a top 10 player in this league. Like, dude, that's the thing. There's so many guys that can vie for these spots.
Another one.
Jimmy Butler, he's a guy that's definitely in that top 10 debate right now.
I remember we had Sean and I, this was before Jeff got on the podcast. It was early on in the season. We both agreed no, but it was before the season started. It was around this time, August. Sean and I were trying to debate. We both came to the conclusion that he wasn't, but if Bradley Beal was top 15 in the league. I mean, that's just how much this league has.
That's deep, man.
This season has gotten deep. Because, I mean, we wouldn't even think Bradley Beal in the top 20 even. Like, not even close. So.
Yeah. Well, in Washington, I guess they wanted to give that guy the freaking soup. And talk about the major bag alert. Major bag alert. I mean, my God.
That's a major bag alert.
That's I would not want to give them that bag, but that is their decision. That is their prerogative. But with that, gentlemen, as we're kind of getting towards the end of this podcast, it's time, as always, to take a beautiful trip down from Mount Rushmore. And Troy, my guy, what do you have planned for us today?
Yeah, no secret. Still trying to finish up that 5-part series with best players positions of all time. We did point guards a couple weeks ago with our special guest. And then this week we are going to do shooting guards. And I feel like 2 of them are just so easy, undebatable.
Yeah.
So the fun will be the last 2.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get the first 2 out of the way. So quick and easy. Michael Jordan.
Yeah, let's just get them out. Yeah, let's just get them out of the way. Carlos Delfino and Ben Golden. Now, guys, what makes these 2 players in particular so special, and why are they at the top of the shooting guard? No, in all seriousness, yeah, of course. When you're looking at the Mount Rushmore, let's just get them out of the way. Kobe and MJ.
Yeah,
they're there.
Yeah. I mean, look at the career MJ had. Came in the league in 1984. 6-time NBA champion, arguably, but I would say the greatest player of all time. Last Dance really kind of put me over the hump with the LeBron debate. He 6-0 in the finals, just did basketball with such a class and changed the league in a lot of ways. I think Larry Bird and Magic Johnson saved the league, but Michael Jordan made the league. You know what I mean? Is that a fair statement to make?
Yeah,
So
I think Magic and Bird grew. I think they changed the game. I think MJ made it global. I think MJ brought it to that next level.
The money.
Yeah.
With
So
MJ.
not only is he a top 4 shooting guard of all time, he is a top 1 shooting guard of all time and number 1 player of all time. I mean, he just
Well, and the other thing
the guy had on the league, guys.
You don't get Kobe without MJ either. That's
And then
the other
you don't
thing.
get Kobe out of MJ too. And he's a guy that comes in the league in 1996 draft, 13th overall out of high school, immediately traded to the Lakers after getting drafted by Charlotte. And he had kind of a rocky year one and year two. But obviously every year got better and better, and to pair up with Shaq and to go to the finals in 2000 and 2001 and 2002. It just incredible, just absolutely incredible. And then to win the finals those years, and then obviously Kobe and Shaq break up after the Pistons manhandle them in 2004. But then for Kobe to go on his own and win 2 more after that on his own was incredible. But I think even his best year, the Lakers weren't super good. I think it was that MVP, or only one MVP, believe it or not. I think it was that 2007.
Yeah, how does Kobe only have 1 MVP?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. And Steve Nash has double. And that's what's crazy. But with Kobe, I think winning those 2 on his own really marked his legacy too, because he beat a very talented Boston Celtics team. And obviously the Magic were, somewhat good with Dwight Howard, but I think everyone wanted that LeBron Kobe matchup that never happened, but I feel like Kobe beat enough competition for us to give him all the respect in the world to what.
Well, he
type of player
evolved
was.
and he took that Lakers team to the next level. It was ultimately him that was that number 1 guy, and it was his ability to take his teammates like Lamar Odom, like Pau Gasol, like Ron Artest, and to take that team that was so and it was truly led by Kobe in the same type of mentality and the same type of ferocity that MJ brought to it. I mean, Jeff, there's a reason why these 2 guys, they're known as 2 of the most ferocious winners in basketball history, man.
Yeah, that's why, MJ and Kobe, it's 1A, 1B. They're so similar. MJ just accomplished more in terms of, winning. That's kind of his legacy. So,
yep.
And he was, if it wasn't for him, Kobe wouldn't be here. So, of course, MJ's 1, Kobe's 2. But listen, I think we'll agree on the next one.
Because of course we got to go with, nope, not that. We got to go with
Aaron Afalo. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
The amount of times I heard that on TV was just obscene. But it's got to be D Wade, right?
It really does.
I
think something too that's so underrated with D Wade is that in 2005, even his second year in the league, they pushed the Pistons to a Game 7. Like that team, and I know he had Shaq with him too, but I just feel like he was so close to even getting to the finals in year 2. He kind of has some Luka-like skills as far as his ability to impact winning at such a young age. And then to go to the finals his 3rd year and win the finals, incredible. And then, of course, you pair up with LeBron later on. But Dwayne Wade has to be on this list because I think he's a winner. I mean, he is a first-class winner. And I feel like just his impact on the game as well and I can't really compare him to a player. I mean, Luka wasn't even really the best comparison, but I mean, there's kind of only one Dwayne Wade. Would we all agree with that? He's kind of on his own tier.
I'd say he's like the greatest. I'd say of the 3, he's the greatest athletic shooting guard of all time.
Combo guard.
He's the greatest athlete.
Guard.
Yeah, he's the true combo guard. He was the different, his build, the way that, I think he was the evolution of the position, right? Yep. I think people ever since have been looking for Dwayne Wade's. And I think really the only player we've really seen since that has truly looked like him have been guys like, Donovan Mitchell. And, obviously now I think a guy like Jaden Ivey looks a hell of a lot like like Dwayne Wade.
He
And
does.
so I'm excited to see how that goes. Now, I'm interested to see what you guys think for the 4th spot. But personally, I'm going to go with the truth. I mean, not the truth. I'm going with Allen Iverson.
The answer.
Answer.
Yes,
Exactly. Not the truth, the answer. To me, that's got to round out the list. To me, when I think of like, because even though like he's 6 foot, he might be like, some people might think of him as a point guard. The guy was a natural shooting guard. The guy was a scorer. The guy was out there going getting buckets. To me, I'd go Allen Iverson there. But I know there might be another guy Troy's thinking of, and I'm interested to see who that was.
No, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it more, I guess I would have put Iverson more as a point guard. So, but I think Iverson certainly is the better player than who I was thinking of. I was thinking of Bernard King.
Bernard King?
I feel like Bernard King, guys, was a scorer before the evolution of scoring became. Yes, he was in the 70s. Are you
No,
kidding me?
I'm not disagreeing with the point you're making, but like you're not
How
joking,
many
right?
shooting guards could we have gotten to before we got to him, though? That's where my question is.
I agree. Iverson's better. I'll put A on my list. But guys, Bernard King evolved the position that I feel like we have to put him at least an honorable mention, if not that 4 slot.
Would you put him above Clyde Drexler?
I mean, I know I'm reaching, but would you put him above James Harden? Like,
Okay, I wouldn't put him over Harden. I would put him over Drexler, I think, though.
Would you put him over Reggie Miller?
Tracy
No.
McGrady?
Yeah,
I like
T-Mac, not Reggie Miller.
Would you put him over Vince Carter?
The T-Mac disrespect.
No, I wouldn't. I would put Vince.
Disrespect. Yeah, that's definitely.
I'd put Vince over.
That's definitely. Hey, it's some disrespect. Hey, I ain't gonna forget about that, man. I ain't forgetting about that. But
for some reason, I couldn't think of any other
Joe
player
Dumars?
besides Bernard King.
Would you put him above Joe Dumars?
Yeah, I would.
Jesus, oh no.
Well, this is Troy's last episode, ladies. No, I'm kidding.
Oh no. And listen,
Oh,
I'm not going to fault you for going with Bernard. I mean, I am going to fault you, but
I'm not going to fault you. I mean, I am. I'm absolutely going.
I'm going to fault you, but listen, Troy, I respect your opinion. And listen, if you've made it this far in the podcast, comment down below: is Bernard King a top 5 or top 4, top 5 shooting guard of all time? Because this is a conversation I think we need to get into more and more.
Yeah,
we could probably go. I mean, you named like what 3? I named another 2. It's also, I guess it's subjective, but to me, it's not.
Listen, how many other pods are talking about Bernard King?
That's true.
No, nobody. Troy, you're muting yourself.
Bernard King.
Not even Knicks fans are talking about Bernard King.
Oh my gosh. Well,
what a way to end it. I love that.
Oh,
I love
man.
that.
I always look forward to these segments because I always know we're going to get something out of it that we're going to be laughing about. Oh my goodness. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, what is your personal list of the best shooting guards of all time? Let us know in the comments section down below. What are some names that you personally think we left out of there? Because there are a lot of great shooting guards throughout the history of the league. Just to name a few guys that also could be thrown up there. There's guys like, George Gervin, Manu Ginobili, Sam Jones, Klay Thompson, Vince Carter, Jeff Hornacek. There's a whole lot of great shooting guards.
I would actually put Klay Thompson pretty close to AI.
Okay, we got to... No.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for
shooting guard, not player. Shooting guard, not player. Shooting guard, not player. Because
so
think about the
how does that change?
No. Think about the
at
position.
That point, you're still comparing the what?
Think about the position. I went a different route this segment, guys. I was thinking of the true position itself. Better player, yes, of course, AI. But I'm thinking of the position. Who is better at that specific position as far as what that position means to the game of basketball? It's Klay Thompson.
Okay, well,
if you're getting definitive of who's a better a guard who's shooting, then yes.
Technically, Klay would be 1 because he's a better shooter than MJ and Kobe. So Clay's one.
He's a more true 2 in my opinion.
All right,
But he
you know what?
instead would have put him above Allen. Anyway,
Allen Iverson's a true 2. I don't know. You know what?
He's a 1, guys. He's a 1.
But he's a shoot first guard. So what is that?
He was
still a point guard.
He was often listed in his career as a shooting guard.
2 guard. But I get what point you're making. Clay could be a small forward.
Clay could be a small forward. Absolutely.
You know, I love
this is from F Court Reach, and every week we talk all things NBA basketball. If you like this podcast, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to find us in all the podcast services that your heart desires. Also, be sure that you're subscribing over to our From Half Court Clips channel if you're looking for more short form content and want to catch anything that you might miss from any of our podcasts. But also, thank you so much for tuning in. We are so thankful for you. And Jeff, before we leave, did you know that 66% of people who watch our videos are not subscribed? What the is that kind of malarkey?
Hold on 1 second, Troy. Troy, what the hell's going on? Yeah. No, Troy's not taking that BS. So,
Troy,
guys, if you
he might look like he's got that smile on his face.
He's pissed.
But that doesn't look very happy. I mean, Kate. I mean, Kate. He looks pretty judgmental, right? He doesn't look too. Yeah, but be sure you subscribe.